Slightly revised 1,696,000, or a whisker shy of 1.7. How do these numbers stack up with history? Well, if we look at the starts number, that is the lightest level going back to August, when we were around, actually further back than that. We go back to June, 1,258,000. So this goes back a ways, and I know that we're going to see Diana Olick in a few seconds. There's so many different moving parts here. Single family versus multifamily.
So here's some big news. Social Security, SSI, and Ssdi, and as well as VA beneficiaries. If you guys have any of those, be sure to keep on watching this video. If you filed your taxes on paper this year, you might have to wait several more months to receive your refund check. According to a testimony at the House Committee subcommittee hearing from the National Taxpayer Advocate, refund checks will actually take about 6 months to arrive for paper filers this year. So the IRS watchdog has been sounding the alarm for months on the pile of paper that the agency has been behind on. In the annual report to Congress at the end of 2021, people said that paper is the IRS kryptonite, and the agency is still buried in it. So during the hearing, the IRS watchdog noted that the IRS employees scrutinize paper forms carefully and they have to deal with the 2020 paper backlog first. So the IRS has struggled to deal with additional crisis-related duties, like administering stimulus checks and advanced child tax credit payments last year, layered on top of chronic underfunding and understaffing. That's led to an unprecedented backlog of unprocessed tax returns. Now, Collins has estimated that, as of the end of December, the IRS had a backlog of 6 million unprocessed original individual returns and 2.3 million unprocessed amended returns. At this month's hearing, IRS Commissioner Chuck Reddick estimated that the agency still had to work through 2.4 million paper returns filed in the calendar year of 2021. Reddick has repeatedly said that the agency needs more funding to carry out all the duties that it's tasked with. So, Treasury officials have announced this week that the agency could be nearing a breaking point. Funding issues and the resulting backlog have implications beyond just a pile of paper. Some taxpayers have been left hanging and waiting on refunds for months. Filers previously told Insider that refund check delays have made it harder to afford groceries, childcare, and even their homes. And even with the 2021 filing season wrapping up, some taxpayers are still waiting on checks from years past. If you're among the estimated 1.5 million taxpayers who never filed a tax return for 2018, the IRS could actually still owe you money. According to a federal law, taxpayers who are owed a refund during any given year must claim it within 3 years. For 2018, that's this year's, which means the deadline to claim your 3-year-old refund is the same deadline as for filing your taxes this year.
Because you and your team delivered, there are families who gather around a dinner table tonight and it's completely filled. There's no empty chairs. 1 million people have died. 1 million people have died, but think of all the lives you helped save. You know, they may not know your name, but you have their gratitude, and that's what public service is all about. It's that what the President Rank Awards are all about. They're about the families in every corner of this country whose lives, all of you who are behind me on the screen, all of you have touched. Every single one of you. Those families may never know your names, but you have their gratitude. It was my honor to reestablish these awards last year after the previous administration made a decision to cancel them. Because these awards are about more than individual recognition. They're a reminder to all of us, to everyone, of the extraordinary capacity, creativity, diversity, and dedication of our federal workforce. And a reminder of why you all the work you do matters so much. You know, a couple weeks before I was sworn in January 2021, I sent a message to all career civil servants. And I meant it at the time, and I still mean it. I told them that we're a team, one America, and I meant it. Over the last 15 months, you've helped us deliver so much to the American people, helping stand up a wartime efforts to get the country vaccinated, getting checks in the people's pockets of families who needed help, literally just to keep food on the table, keep a roof.
We're also having a hard time understanding the direction from this administration. But I have to ask the question because we saw the response from President Biden after Russia took that first step into Ukraine, and the effort was not to come to Canada as our partner, but to call on Venezuela, to call on Iran for increased production, to turn to OPEC. Is there something different in the product, in the oil itself, in the crude itself, something in Venezuela or Iranian oil that American or Canadian oil doesn't have? Is it cleaner? What would give them that advantage over what we might be able to do here in the United States or in Canada? Is there anything?
Thank you, Senator. I think the best comparator between our oil would be with Venezuela, because both are largely heavy oil reservoirs, and we are now at or below the carbon footprint for a barrel of Alberta heavy versus Venezuelan heavy. So there's no environmental advantage. I would add that the Venezuelans, that this is a state-owned enterprise in a kleptocracy with zero transparency and zero real commitment to North American-style energy standards, whereas we are dealing with world-class publicly traded companies that rank in the top decile of ESG performance for energy producers in Canada with incredibly ambitious environmental and emissions targets. So I think we probably end up, in a comparable sense, penalizing ourselves because we are so self-critical, we are so transparent. I don't think we really know what the emissions profile is of energy being produced in Venezuela and Iran, is my point.
Well, I would agree, and again, Alaska shares many of those same attributes in terms of how we are able to produce in a way that not only minimizes footprint, but in terms of reduced emissions, methane emissions, we are heads and shoulders above not only other countries but many states as well. But again, it's absolutely incomprehensible why we would not seek those options and avenues that are cleaner, help not only our respective states, but again, this North American Energy Alliance, which to me is just common sense. You have highlighted two things that the administration has taken that have harmed the ability of Canadian crude to reach our refineries, clearly Keystone, and you also have mentioned this Enbridge Line 5, which I hope the administration is paying heed to your words here. You've talked about optimization. What more can this administration do? We already know what they've done to limit our ability to have better relationship, better partnerships on this energy alliance. But what could they do today? What could this administration do today to help improve this energy relationship between our two nations?
Well, one would be to join Canada in opposing the governor's effort to decommission Line 5. Secondly, working with midstream companies on accelerating approval for